All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another Elixir Kitchen cooking and nutrition demonstration. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Jeremy Capone. I am the wellness chef, and I am joined by my amazing registered dietitian, Daniela. Hello, Daniela.
Hi, Jeremy. So welcome. Excited. This is I think this might be our 8th class together since January. So I'm excited to be co-host with Jeremy for this Elixir Kitchen nutrition and culinary demo. And the other part of my job, I am also a clinical dietitian over at Princess Margaret for 3 days of the week. So today we are sharing 3 simple and nutritious recipes that are budget friendly. We've all heard about how food prices are really high and require no cooking. Yes. A cooking demo with no cooking. This is perfect for those places where you do not have access to a stove or an oven. So we know that some people who come from far need to stay at a hotel or a lodge while they're receiving treatment, and you don't want to rely on takeout or expensive restaurant meals. So today, Jeremy has come up with 3 wonderful recipes, and they are tomato toast, tuna bean and couscous salad, and a summer peachy delight that I know you will enjoy. So without further ado, shall we just dive into the first recipe, Jeremy? Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I'll mention as well, for those who are watching through the YouTube stream, there is a chat function. If you do have any questions throughout the session, you can absolutely ask through the chat. We're keeping an eye on it, and we will do our best to address your questions. But yes, thanks, Daniela. So we're going to jump right into the first recipe, and that was our challenge for today's recipes, like Daniela mentioned, to try to create more assembly recipes. And so we're still making these delicious little meals, snacks, but without turning on a stove, without turning on the oven, which sometimes I think it's nice even in summer when it's really hot outside and you don't really want to add any extra heat to the house. You might just want to, put a quick meal together without the use of adding extra heat, so like a stove or an oven. So we're going to make some really, really simple recipes. Okay, yeah, I think my video feed cut for a sec, but I think we're good. So we're going to start off with these really nice tomato toasts. Now, this is, again, tomatoes, especially in the peak of the season, it's probably the best time to enjoy them. Outside of the season, I mean, you can definitely, they have some like greenhouse cherry tomatoes, which are pretty okay. And then there's even some really good like canned and jarred tomatoes that would do as well. But, we're still in August. Summer has not left us yet. So definitely take advantage of, tomato season right now because they're tasting the best. So really, really quick, simple preparation. Just going to roughly cut up large chunks of these tomatoes. Now you can use any tomatoes you want. They have like the larger beefsteak. You can get some nice colorful heirloom tomatoes. Those would be great. Or like the plum tomatoes, whatever you like. We're going to start by taking off the stem. And a little trick to take this off. A little bit easier. I mean, you can use any method you like or feel comfortable with. But if you have a small paring knife, what I like to do is just put your thumb near the top of the paring knife, where you have about, let's say, even half an inch above your thumb. And then we're going to stick it right into the top of the tomato. Try to get a good angle of that, so that half an inch is inside the tomato. And we're going to just press our thumb against it, and we're going to circle around tomato with our thumb. And then, so you're cutting around, and then that little stem will come right off. So that's sort of an easy way you can prep through your tomatoes. That's really the only part you need to discard. And then like I said, we'll cut it up into, I like larger chunks. You can do small pieces if you like more of like a bruschetta style, but I'm not trying to make this super fussy at all. This is really meant to be a quick assembled little snack. All right, so we have some of our diced tomatoes in there. I think that's enough. And I'm going to add a little bit of dried oregano. You can add dried basil if you like as well, or you can add fresh herbs. Fresh herbs would be fantastic. But I'm also, I think, another key with these recipes is to try to keep the ingredient list as small as possible, right? So you might not always have access to fresh herbs. If you do, wonderful, beautiful, add them. But you might have dried herbs more often than not, especially year round, and those would be fantastic in here. So dried oregano, dried basil, beautiful. When you're adding it, you do the little rub between your fingers, and what it does is it actually starts to open up the flavors and the aromas of the dried herb. So we're gonna add a little bit of that, and we're gonna add a little pinch of salt as well. What the salt is going to do is going to start pulling out a lot of the water out of the tomatoes, and it's going to start to create its own sort of natural dressing, which is going to be delicious on top of these toasts. So that's pretty much it. Give it just a little toss, and we're going to set that aside, okay? Now, to prep the toasts, this is the only part where you won't really need a stove or an oven. If you have a toaster, just toast up some bread, whatever bread you have. You have a nice little multigrain, beautiful. What I would suggest is a thicker slice. So something a little bit thicker so that it can hold up to these like nice juicy tomatoes, and toast it till it's really, really nice and golden brown. I want to have some crunch. I want to have some nice texture to it. Again, because I'm putting the tomatoes and that dressing on it, I don't want it to like fall apart and sort of crumble, right? So I want some integrity to that piece of bread. So just toast till it's really, really nice and golden brown. And while it's still a little bit warm, if you take it out of your toaster, or if you've done it in a pan, or if you've done it like in like a toaster oven or something, whatever, but while it's still nice and warm, what we're gonna do is grab a garlic clove, and we're gonna just rub it right into the toast. And again, that's why if it's nice and hard, it's going to be really easy. And you can almost see already a quarter of that garlic is gone. It's almost like a grater. It's almost like a really fine grater. And it's mincing the garlic. Hard to see, but now I have this really, really fine mince of garlic on the toast, which is going to add a ton of flavor. And it's a lot easier than having to like chop it up or having to take out like a press or something like that. So really, really great technique to add some flavor to that. So there is our toast. And now, here's where you can add, whoa, I'm really blown out. I'll try to get it as close as possible. There you go. Here is this is pressed cottage cheese that we're going to add for a little bit of protein. Nadila, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about the cheese you're using here.
Sure. So cottage cheese, it's really interesting. You hear a lot about it when people are on weight loss diets or bodybuilding, and it might be the food they eat before they go to bed. It is really high in protein casein. And casein is considered to be something that is slowly absorbed. And that slow absorption provides an opportunity to build our muscles a little bit better. So having the pressed cottage cheese on these tomato toasts as an excellent source of protein, especially when if you're going through treatment, you are trying to maintain your muscle, right? And you're trying to have as much protein for healing. The other thing, I guess, Jeremy, is that what we do need to watch out for is that it does contain lactose, but you can get lactose-free varieties now, and you can also get varying levels of fat depending on whether you need more fat or less fat in the diet.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Daniela. And like I mentioned, this is a pressed variety. So really all that means is that a lot of the water, that moisture, has been sort of sieved or drained out. If you can't find the pressed one, and the texture is it's a lot firmer because it's pressed, very much similar to like a ricotta cheese. If you just have the regular cottage cheese, that works as well. But if you did want to drain it out, you can even just do that yourself in a sieve, or if you have some cheesecloth and you pretty much let it drain, let that water drain out, and then you're going to have a much firmer product. So it really depends on how you like it, but I've just simply spread it right over top of that toast. And to finish, and again, really, really simple dish, but this is going to have a ton of flavor. To finish, and you can see, oh, well, there we go. Let's work on the camera here. There we go. See that juice coming out of it? And that's just been for what, a couple minutes. And so you already have this wonderful tomato dressing. And what I'll do is I'll just add a little bit of olive oil to that.
So I like that. Yeah, I was just going to say, I like that you added some of the olive oil because that also helps with the availability of the lycopene, which is the most famous phytonutrient antioxidant in the tomato, and it makes it more available for our body to enjoy or absorb that. So that's great.
Wonderful. And to finish, I'm simply just trying to spoon this on top. And then don't forget that really, really tasty dressing. Get in. And again, that's why it helps to have that thicker cut of bread. And that way it soaks in. And I guess, I mean, you can even do this like on a pita. A few different ways for sure. There you have it. So that is our tomato garlic toast. Really easy, simple. We made this in less than 5 minutes, and it's really, really nice and tasty snack for the first recipe.
Great. What I love about it too, Jeremy, is that we can even call it a mini meal. So for people who struggle with their appetite and get overwhelmed by portion size, this is what we talk about when we talk about mini meals. It's not making a grand production, a huge plate of food. This is an excellent mini meal. It's high in protein with the pressed cottage cheese. You have some great plant nutrients available through the tomato. And then the bread, right? The bread, you can swap that out for something higher fiber if you're okay to digest fiber. Or did you use sourdough bread? I can't tell which one you used. Yeah?
Yeah. So it's a sourdough with just a thicker slice, but yeah. You can... So
it's lower in fiber and actually has a tiny bit more protein than other breads. So it's a wonderful choice if your appetite is poor. And if you're not able to use your stove or oven.